The Pokemon Go Rocket Takeover is coming live midnight tonight. Well, it's already out for you, most of the world right now, so let's get into the top tips to help you guys max out, including the brand new Shiny Shadow Pokemon and the Rocket lineups in Pokemon Go. So thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome to the Trader Club. Here we go. This event is going down on Wednesday midnight, all the way until Sunday, February 5th at midnight. There's going to be increase in Team Go Rocket and balloons all around the area, and also you can use a charge TM to get rid of frustration on all of your Pokemon that are shadows as of right now. So very important for you guys to be able to do that. Not only that, we have Shadow Registeel, and I do have a video coming out tomorrow that's going to talk about, is Shadow Registeel going to be worth your time, energy, and effort in Pokemon Go? So we have a couple brand new Shadow Pokemon, we have new leader lineups, and that's going to all be covered in my top tips, starting off with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is going to be all about the brand new Shiny Shadow Leader Pokemon, because that's what we do desire in this game. So we do have Arlo, which is going to have the Nidoran male as the Shiny. So Nidoran male is going to be the first one. The next one can be either Crobat, Steelix, or Credilli. And the final one can be Charizard. More than likely, it's going to be Scizor if that does maintain the thing. And it can also be Armaldo as well. So you have multiple options here. I personally would always like to start off with something that's going to be working really well. So what I would do here is I would start off with Lucario, do a quick couple counters, get a couple more to charge up. As soon as it starts its attack, I would then switch into Swampert here. Why I would switch into Swampert? Because it will be decently effective against Credilli and Steelix, and it's a very resistant, fast charging Pokemon. The only problem it will have is going to be against the Crobat. And in the Crobat sense, you could go also in there with something such as Terrakion with Smackdown and Rock Slide, which would be extremely effective. Or if you want something even more resistant, you can use the Rock Slide on the Melmetal. That would be extremely effective. So going in with Lucario, Swampert, and Melmetal would be very effective here. The only problem I see with this lineup here is that Scizor is going to be getting hit pretty hard relatively by the Swampert, but it is going to be double weak to fire. So typically I will throw a Reshiram in this party to be able to help cover me up. And the next one is going to be Cliff. So we do have Magnemite as the brand new Shiny Shadow Pokemon, which is pretty cool. The next we do have Venusaur, we have Pinsir or Omastar for spot number 2. And spot number 3, unanimously, it's typically Tyranitar, but it can also get Sharpedo and Camerupt. So for this Pokemon here, going in straight off the bat with an Excadrill would easily work against this Pokemon. It's going to demolish this Pokemon, and it will be very resistant to a lot of the moves. But just remember, one of the goals is to blow the shields as fast as possible. That's why I always have the Lucario in there, because you can always use Lucario for this situation. Lucario having Power Up Punch will be maybe not the most effective in the second placed Pokemon, unless it's going to be Omastar, but if you are able to survive that, going up against Tyranitar with a couple power-up punches and counter is extremely effective. Sharpedo will take a lot of damage from that, and although Camerupt can damage that Pokemon quite a bit, if you are in rhythm, it's going to do a lot of damage there. So putting in another Pokemon with that Lucario would be extremely effective, because Lucario can also handle the Magnemite. So what my lineup would be for this one is I'm going in with Lucario. I might consider going in with either a Charizard or also going in with a Reshiram just to be able to do sheer damage with Fire Fang, and then finally closing it off with a water type Pokemon just in case that Camerupt comes in there, such as Swampert. And then Sierra is bringing back Beldum, and I'm very excited about this. I will be hunting Sierra significantly. I do not have a Shiny Shadow Beldum number 1, but number 2, I'm really excited to see what I can hopefully be able to get a good Shiny Shadow Beldum, which I have not been able to obtain that Metagross. And if you do get this, I highly suggest you guys do not evolve it right away unless you're willing to put an Elite Charge TM on it, because I do believe eventually we will have the Beldum Comday Classic come back in Pokemon Go. So what I would suggest doing is at least getting away frustration and holding on to it unless you're willing to invest. In the second tier, we do have Lapras, Sharpedo, and Flygon. And then in the third tier, we are looking at Alakazam, Houndoom, and Shiftry. So for me, once again, I'm going in Lucario with counter and power up punch just to blow down shields and to charge that Pokemon up. Then when looking at the next round of Pokemon, we have 2 water Pokemon, and then we have a flyer here. Lucario can be able to handle both of those water, Lapras, as well as the Sharpedo relatively well. The only problem here is going to be the Flygon. Flygon is a great Pokemon to be able to be weak to Ice type. So having a Mamoswine would definitely work in here, or even having a Mewtwo with Ice Beam would also work. And if you do have a Mewtwo with Ice Beam and Flamethrower, the Flamethrower would be able to handle Shiftry here as well. And the Lucario can handle the Houndoom. The only outlier is going to be Alakazam here. But if you do unlock a second charge move on your Lucario and you do put Shadow Ball on that, boom, you have the entire lineup handled right there. And then finally looking at Giovanni, I think Giovanni's team is usually pretty simple. So we do have the Persian. Persian is going to be a normal type Pokemon, and it usually gets Bite or other moves, and it's extremely strong. So what I do here is I put in a Melmetal up front. I'll charge it up to get the Rock Slide off, or Power Up Punch, doesn't really matter. I'll get that off, I'll charge up a little bit of energy, then I'll switch right into Lucario, and I'll start hitting it with counters and Power Up Punch to finish off the shields and to charge up that Pokemon. Then we do have the Nidoqueen, we also have the Cloyster, and then finally we do have Garchomp. So for me personally, I am throwing in another Ice type Pokemon in here. Even Kyurem would work really well in here because of its Ice and Dragon typing, and the Dragon typing would be able to handle a couple Pokemon here, and then also having that Ice type. And then finally we're gonna have Registeel. Registeel could definitely work with the Lucario with the Power Up Punches, would definitely be effective, and it could also work for a Fire type Pokemon such as a Reshiram. That would be a great way to throw it in there. I really like the Reshiram, especially when it's powered all the way up and it's doing a ton of damage. So that's going to be all the rockets in Pokemon Go for the leaders, which then leads into tip number 2. Tip number 2 is going to be all about the grunt battles going on. So we do have the Alolan Vulpix, we also have Spoink coming in here, we have Blitzel, and then finally we have Joltik. So those are going to be all 4 of the brand new Pokemon in Pokemon Go for the Shadows. And the most effective is going to be only, really, Alolan Ninetales. In the Great League, it's ranked 25 at a 0-14-12. In the Ultra League, it's ranked 27th at level 50 at a 7-15-15. And then the Grumpig is not really that well ranked. As far as the Zebstrika, also not super well ranked. And then finally we have Galvantula, and the regular is outranking the Shadow in this situation. So realistically, the Alolan Vulpix is here. And if you guys do want a little bit more information, please pause the screen here and check out Go Stadium's graphic for all of the relevant Shadow Pokemon that you could go after, which is then going to lead us into tip number 3. Tip number 3 would be, what Shadow Pokemon should you use for frustration? So honestly guys, here, what I really suggest you guys do is just go through your Pokemon and look up anything. You can look up pvpoke.com and check out where some of your Shadow PvP Pokemon do rank. If you want to see any of those Pokemon, all you do is type in Shadow and you can see all of the rankings. There's great Shadow Pokemon out there to be able to go after. For the Great League, we're looking at Swampert, Machamp, Gliscor, Registeel, Ninetales, Abomasnow, Dragonite, Walrein. Those are all great options for you guys to be able to purify right there. Those are going to be in the top 40. For the Ultra League, we have a little bit more here, but we have Gliscor in rank 6. In rank 8, we have Registeel, 11 Steelix, 14 Swampert, 24 Walrein, 25 Charizard, 27 Alolan Ninetales, and 28 the Abomasnow. And then if we're looking at in the Master League, we do have amazing Pokemon such as Lugia Shadow. We do have Mewtwo Shadow. We have Dragonite Shadow, Gyarados Shadow, Ho-Oh, Snorlax, Mamoswine, and Latios. And those are going to be the Pokemon that we do have here, and that doesn't even include meta attackers. For meta attackers, we do have Machamp, extremely effective. Even Hariyama is a pretty effective fighting meta attacker. All of the legendaries, I would suggest TMing away frustration just to have those Pokemon open and free. Not only that, we can use Pokemon such as Salamence, we can use Beldum going into the Metagross, we can use Dragonite as a meta attacker. The other Pokemon included could be Shadow Honchkrow, Shadow Alakazam, Shadow Moltres, Shadow Dragonite like we talked about, Shadow Latios, Shadow Mamoswine. Other Pokemon can include Shadow Electivire, Shadow Weavile, Shadow Machamp, Staraptor, Raikou, Zapdos, Charizard, Entei, Luxray, and Executor as the top 20 Shadows. And the other one I don't want you guys to forget about is going to be Gardevoir. It is not the most effective Pokemon, but it does do damage, especially with that Charm move in the Master League. So that's going to be tip number 3, which is then going to lead into tip number 4. Tip number 4 is going to be, don't forget about hatching eggs during this time, because in the 12-kilometer eggs that are going to be coming from the leaders, you guys do get a lot of Stardust. If you can save up 12 of those on a star piece, you can get just about 100,000 Stardust. So while putting in all this effort with the increased grunts, you might as well be hatching 12-kilometer eggs at the same time and keep running through them each and every day. Ideally, if you could do 12-kilometer eggs, which is a lot of work every single day, guys, for this entire rest of the event, you'd be looking at, just from the eggs alone, approximately 500,000 Stardust. What could you do with that? And just remember, the egg pool is going to be Larvitar, which is going to be a 594 for the hundo. We do have Absol, which is going to be a 1443, which does have a Mega. We do have Sandile, that's going to be a 592. We also have Scraggy in there, and let's not forget about the shiny Pawniard coming out of there. We have Volibite, we have Dino, that's going to be a 606. We have the Pancham, which is going to be 850. And then we have Skrelp and Salandit, and Salandit in the female form is very rare, and it's going to be 641 to be able to evolve that. So not only do you want one for yourself, but it's an easy trade bait, or I guess valuable item to be able to trade with people. So do hatch those eggs at the same time, which is then going to lead us to tip number 5. Tip number 5 will be all about the research going down this event. Let's check it out. Stage number 1 will be available all the way to the end of Mythical Wishes. We have defeat 6 Team Go Rocket Grunts for a Helioptile encounter. Make 3 nice curveball throws in a row. Once again, same Pokemon, and earn 2 candies exploring with your buddy, same Pokemon, for the grand total rewards of 2,000 XP, 15 Pokeballs, and 10 revives. In stage number 2, we have defeat 6 Team Go Rocket Grunts for 10 Hyper Potions, catch 4 Shadow Pokemon for 10 Pokeballs, and purify 2 Shadow Pokemon for 10 Pineapple Berries for 2,000 XP, 15 Great Balls that you should save for Calm Day this weekend, and a Rocket Radar. And next, we have defeat the Team Go Rocket Arlo, Cliff, and Sierra for 1,500 XP each, for 2,500 XP, 1,000 Stardust, and 1 Super Rocket Radar. In stage number 5, we have defined, battle, and defeat the Team Go Rocket Boss, which will make up the entirety for 20 Pokeballs, which is very good there. And then we get 3,000 XP, a Lucky Egg, and 2 Raspberries in the golden form, and then claim rewards for a grand total of 7,500 XP, 5,000 more XP, and 2,500 Stardust, and a grand total of 2 Silver Pineapple Berries, which is very beneficial. And let's not forget about the field research. We have defeat 2 Team Go Rocket Grunts, which can give you an extra mysterious component. You can have a revive ×2, super potion, or hyper potion, which will help when you guys are fighting all of these rocket Pokemon. But just remember, saving those up as much as possible is very impactful. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. I love and appreciate you guys. Good luck out there. Fight, battle, and TM away frustration in Pokemon Go. Get yourself some shiny shadows. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. To all my likers, comments, subscribers, Patreon members, everybody takes their support, subscription, invitation, 2x. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace. I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.